person with activated transformation gene takes every environmental change as a circumstance. And then the first thing that person sees in the circumstances changing is opportunities. For example, if somebody asks me, so how are you doing? I say, oh, great. So what do? I say, I haven't been speaking so much on the camera in a long time, and I see that people are now finally realizing the capacity of technology we have on hands. And it was just our biases and our beliefs that were holding us back from using it more often. And again, you see, that's a mindset. And the mindset is derivative or the extension of your basic DNA, of whatever way you want to refer to yourself, your basic identity. So for people who are not that comfortable with the DNA perspective, I usually also refer alternatively to a book. Every person's identity is like a book. You can open up the book to the certain page, you flip it, and then you read, oh, yes, I was in Madrid in 2012. There was a nice Muse concert and stuff like that, and I had this fun. So I was allowed to refer to it later. And if we speak about personal behavior changes, and you can, if you want, and get ready, that will be one of my questions after my talk. What are your most difficult changes you wanted to do yourself? Get ready. Or if you are shy, you can say, I have a friend, and my friend wants to change that thing like for many years. Just give me an example. So in terms of the book says everything about you, and it knows you very well. In that book, and if I refer back to my own transformations, I can start with myself. I've done 3 major ones, and they were almost like 10 years apart from each other. So I always had some problem with managing my weight. So when I was 13 years old, I was 100 kilograms in my weight. I was outstanding in this in this category. Naturally, in the regime that I lived in, the people who are different are not appreciated. And that's also socially. And at the age of 14, I decided, I don't want that. I was in a summer camp for 4 weeks, first time away from my parents. I had the schedule for the day, and I was free to choose when I do what in my free time. And there was 1 hour after lunch. Usually people go to play games or to do whatever they want. What I did, after lunch and 15 minutes or so, I went to a stadium. In the stadium, there was this circle where people can run around. And I was, imagine, the only person there, right? And I did, and one loop, or the one cycle, or the circle was 1 kilometer, no, 300 meters. And I did 10 of those. And I did it every single day, no matter what. That was my kind of thought. When my parents visited me after 3 weeks, luckily I had these specific things that are holding my shorts so they don't fall down. And that was my first self-observation of how everything starts just by your one decision, and then consistency with that. So that was one. And if previously my book said, I'm the person who eats whatever wants and doesn't care, after that, that sentence was edited or erased, and there was a new sentence. I'm a person who is during the summer camp after lunch going to the stadium and runs 10 laps. And that's it. And the same, you can expand it to any other behavior. Those who smoke, and that's kind of very popular behavior, but at the same time, people rationally know there is a correlation between the smoking behavior and the lung cancer and all other things. Then if your life book currently says, I'm a person who smokes on that occasions or that regularity with these friends and so forth, then ideally, later, when you flip on that page, it doesn't say anything. It's not that you are not smoker. That still is holding up to your previous identity. The new identity just doesn't have any sentence about that. So it becomes irrelevant. And this is what I did with my alcohol consumption 3.5 years ago. So it was there, Julio remembers, and it's not there anymore. So this is another way. So either you speak about genes, either you speak about the book, and you are pretty much editing your book the way you want. Again, referring back, it's your book, and you making edits the way you want. First, you are honest with yourself, and instead of saying, I want to do more exercise, you say, I want to be more healthy. That's the starting point. There is no other way. The smallest deviation from the arrow is getting you trapped. And I think you now realized for yourself, now you have a new identity, and you know that by saying, I need to do more exercising, is not in line with your actual feeling you're looking for. So if you draw the arrow, like draw the vector, and you need to write down, I want to feel healthy all the time. And then you are honest with yourself, and then you will reflect and remind yourself, you will see the image of that arrow. Whenever you get into selecting food, whenever you get into selecting elevator or stairs or walking 15 minutes or jump on a bus, and then you are getting free from the conditioning which is artificial for you, which is exercising, that's just the BS. that's not working. We see all of these examples. So I'm glad you just got it, and that's your new identity. You will be, first of all, saying exactly what you want, and then your natural biology will be supporting you, and your gene will be working effectively. Instead of you're tricking your gene, you're saying you're wishing to feel healthier, but you're tricking your gene that, oh, you need to you need to get me exercising, but it doesn't go together. It's just a way of be very straightforward, transparent with what you really want. That's very powerful, and I'm sure now you will see the changes happening in front of your eyes. Hugging is the most effective strategy for enemies. Try it out with people. If you have an enemy, try to hug them. They will fall into parts. It's the only that you resist of doing it is why enemy keeps being the enemy. So hug yourself. I mean, in a sense that you embrace that. It's our biology. We crave sugar and oxygen, two basic ingredients for all of the biology that produces those chemicals and necessary energy for our cells. That's it. That's why the chocolate is the direct sugar for survival. But we have the intelligence, and now you have also the tools. I can tell you my story when the second story about my weight control was after when I was 30, and I played ice hockey, and my feet was twisted backwards in a game, so it was broken. And they had the surgery, they had the screws in it, and I was off my exercising, which kept my weight constant. So I ate whatever I wanted, and I exercised, played ice hockey, and it was good. So I was off from sports, and my weight just singing, coming back, and I was back to 104. I spoke with my good friend radiologist, and he said, it's just about what you eat. And the practical formula that worked for me was you have a list of foods that you eat, and the rest is out of the list, off the list. It doesn't exist. How does it help me? I was aware of what exists in the world for me as a food, and the rest immediately or gradually became invisible to me. So there were even shelves in the store that became invisible. They kind of disappeared, got blurred, not interested. So in my book, there was a chapter, life book. And when I went to the chapter, what I eat, there was a very exact list. And that means whenever I have a question about whether that thing is edible, in this case, the chocolate, no, it's not. It's not on the list. It's not edible. So it's like you look at the mushroom, and which is poisonous in the forest. You see it, and you don't see it immediately because it's not your interest. It might sound quite trivial, but it worked for me. And I would encourage you to do something similar, play with these ideas. First of all, you embrace that's part of your being and part of this internal dialogue about yourself, but then creating vectors. And also, if you want, the vector says, I'm deciding what I eat, and here is the list. And then you just make every single decision and try it out for smaller things and play with it. You will see how how you can make a good deal with your so-called inner other voice. You will create awareness. You will become more the driver of everything in your life. The same thing what the spiritual speakers say. They say, love yourself and love that part of you that is not happy. Just love it, and it's gonna be there with you without bothering you. It's your resistance to it that creates the pain. And we are human beings. We can have such a multiplicity of our inner demons or inner voices. That's fine, as long as you love them and you say, yes, I have them. I think the problem starts when you say, oh, I shouldn't be having this voice. Who says that? Who is the voice saying this? Maybe another voice who is disappointed about that voice. That's all you. And when you get comfortable with that, that's when your comfort starts. Another discussion I had a few days ago, and there was a teacher saying, students come to the class and they just 19, 20 years young, and the only thing they want is comfort. And I say, well, they will get into big discomfort if they're thinking this way. And the opposite of that is real, ultimate comfort is possible when you befriend discomfort. When you become a friend with discomfort, you achieve the best ultimate comfort there is. Kind of a little bit of the brain puzzle, but that's how it works.